Welcome back to Happy Chappy. So, this is about the children of the world and the truth of our system. So, what we have is a system that we rely on government and all the corporations that they create in health, protection, different things like that. Sure, you get the gist. Now, what leaves us to do then is to adapt with these services or to the laws that they create. While what we've recently been seeing is these grooming gangs, children going missing, we got to look at the system. Why? Why would people be doing this? And it comes down to there's a lot of money in it. A lot of money in it. Now, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. Obviously, we know what it is. It's you're choosing money over life. Now, I can't say to anybody else that's wrong. I can say it truly from my own heart that it's wrong, but I can't make you think that it's wrong. But I can make you see the truth of how this has come about. We have a government system that leaves people struggling for money by hiding the truth. And the truth is, we live in a borrowing system where the government is working as a service for you. And so you will get so much from the government services while they're working as a service for you, profiting off you for the work that they do for you. Now, you signed a contract to let the government services run for you. And of course you don't know this or don't remember doing it because you didn't really. It became your birth certificate. And while that was created, what happened was all the services that the government supplies and the laws you become bound to. And them services makes money off your back through contracts. Through the contract that you signed in your birth certificate and your parents as witnesses became a lawful contract, which was unlawfully done, of course. And so what you find is services is creating more contracts outside of that contract that they made with you, with other services that they have in corporations, and in them contracts making more money in them other corporations will always off your back. So you're paying them as they borrow as you. You see, the system is about borrowing, and you borrow from the system through the contracts and it's put in the stock market. What they've done is stepped into the middle of that, create a contract with you so they could make contracts for you while making money off you, while borrowing out of the system for you, but they're living off the wealth that they take off you. While what you get from them services taxes you and takes more money off you. And then we go back to the banking where it all starts. And then we go to the stock market, JP Morgan and Chase. And then we go to Epstein. The pedos, the perverts who created the system to rob you and I. While the government supported. And it's that simple. They created a legal system as law unlawfully, which is not lawful. And so any contract is unlawful. It's not law. It's legal. It's not lawful. It's unlawful. Because you weren't consciously aware when your birth certificate was created that it was a contract that was being created. You weren't aware of anything. And it wasn't your parents' responsibility to be aware because they weren't aware when they had a birth certificate created. Yet they were still witnesses, but they didn't know that they were witnesses, as you didn't know that you were signing an agreement on a contract. And even if you had have been consciously aware, which wasn't likely, it's not lawful because it needs to be a spoken word for our agreement, or written by you, or both by true law to bring out that vibration from you in your actions, which wasn't carried out, which was actions carried out by your parents that labelled you as a somebody. And so Epstein and the banks and the financial markets created in multiple corporations to benefit of you, of the people. While lawfully, you have the right to claim back all your property. And when they don't give it back to you, they're obstructing you by law. Anyone that is in a cooperation, all you need is their name. One person's name, and they're liable. And I say this because I'm in this situation and now I have a name and I'm waiting for court papers to come so I can serve them to the government or to somebody in the government. So I get my property back. Because anything that they do with my property, which they have repeatedly done afterwards, after I've let them know in their own law and in the ways that their own law is set up, they still unlawfully obstructed me. Not once, not twice, many a time. And in their own legal system, it takes 3 notifications to let them know before they can provide you access to your material. 3. I've lost count in the numbers of times that I've let them know. And not any of their services does shit for me. So why would I be letting them profit off me? Well, all I have to do is get my paperwork, my property that's under my labelling, and borrow myself for the services that I will do as a cooperation of myself that I am, which you can do too. You don't need the services of any government, especially one that is unlawful. Now, on the other hand, the government helps create the roads, the health services, the policing. But I ain't seen any of that. I ain't seen any of that helping me. I ain't seen any of their services helping me. And from that government, from them getting paid, then they get paid through that from the taxes that is took off people. And that comes through services. In corporations, when you purchase something, you pay tax on it, and every single thing. And that tax pays for their services. Everything else under your legal name is yours, your belongings. And you have the right to have that and no one else to have access to that. So you can borrow what money that you need to set up your services that you are providing in your corporation that you hold in you. But in the government's legal system, they keep it away from you and create other services outside of you while profiting off you for existing in who you are. Okay, that's, I think, enough for now. I could go on all day with this, but I don't want to put too much out there, make you overthink about things. Probably put out more than enough already, but people need to know. You have the right to access your own property and stop the government from accessing services that they're profiting off on your back because they don't have any right. And I can see the point of government, especially if their services work, but they don't work. The policing, they're meant to be protecting the people. They harass people. I personally know that. They harass them. And so, the government services has no right for your property. In fact, when I get my property, I'll be setting up my own policing force. There'll be no government needed whatsoever. I will have my own security. And I would probably set up my own law. If they want to run legal systems, I can set up my own law. You can set up your own law. All you need is 100 people. And in my law, I will have the security in that 100 people. And I will pay them. And I will teach them, if they're not out of the system, how they can run their own system. And we could all run together. Yet in our own cooperations, helping each other, will we all become wealthy, abundant, within and out here. The true heaven and earth, where no one is in poverty or no one's in need to do low vibrational things like child trafficking or anything else like that in a low vibration. And the system created it. The legal system created it. And the people at the top of that legal system, we've seen it. Pedos, perverts, are robbing you and I while robbing children to profit off them. So you stay dumb. So I stay dumb. So we all stay dumb. And the kids are abused, and they're up at the top, the creators of it all, the system, coming down here, taking your children, taking your lives, taking your wealth and abundance of heaven on earth, while giving you hell on earth. Well, them times are over. Them times are changing. They have changed. They have no control anymore. You have the power. I have the power. The people has the power. And they can't hold on any longer because they're obstructing. And every single person is named that is in that government that does something wrong that you can collect. You hold on to that because they're who you're going to take to court. They're who you're going to sue. They're going to be who's liable. And like I say, that's where I'm at. I've got a name now, and they're liable. They're withholding evidence and obstructing, which is a life or death matter in common law. So they would be held under a jury in common law for a life or death matter for obstructing justice by withholding evidence, by withholding property that doesn't belong to them. Through a fraudulent contract. So remember that. You have the power. Anything that they tell you is bullshit. That's their side of the contract. That is created in contract law, which isn't law. It's a made up law in a legal system that is unlawful through fraudulent contracts that have been created at birth. And so there is no power there. They are services that work for you. If anything, what you tell them to do, they have to go and do it because that's what they're working for you. So if you're driving down the road and a police officer stops you and he gives you a ticket, you can give it back to him or not even take it off him, and you can tell him to roll that up and throw it in the bin. Jump in it when you're at it because you're no benefit to me. You're a service under me. You do what I ask you to do because you're here to protect me. Obviously, I'm exaggerating a wee bit by jumping in the bin and that, but they're here to protect you, look after you, as a service from the government, which gets paid outside of the contract through what taxes you pay through everything that you purchase. So they're a service already paid, yet they're screwing you over as you signed into a legal system. Because they're paid through the taxes that you pay for everything. While in the corporations, there are contracts between them and the government and all other government corporations borrowing of your account, creating more and more debt in your account, while they pay off their own debt while robbing you. Anyway, I think that's it for today. That's for the second time. But yeah, just know that you're living in an unlawful system. There is a lawful system, don't get me wrong, and there is laws. We don't do each other wrong. In criminal behaviour, it's pretty much common sense. You don't attack someone, you don't steal of someone, you don't go out to try to hurt somebody, you don't obstruct people, you don't try to manipulate people into obstructive ways. You don't harm the property, you don't take property that's not yours. Common sense. And that is the laws. It's God's law. It's common law. It's common sense. But we're not living in it. Yet it's there. We're living by a legal system that is unlawful. This is Happy Chapper. Love and peace.